involved or mentioned?
Yeah, he said he stabbed somebody, I guess.
Are you anyone else in danger right now?
I'm sure everybody is around him right now.
Let's firstly get to know Wade Wilson a little more. Wade's birthday is May 20th, 1994. When he was born, his birth parents were between the ages of 15 and 16, and they were 14 or 15 when they learned of the pregnancy. His biological mother battled addiction and mental illness. Her parents attended church with the Wilson family, who were also parents to 2 daughters. Sometime after Wade's birth, they adopted him. According to his adoptive family, he was a happy and involved child who was well-adjusted. His family claims he changed drastically at the age of 13. By Wade's own admission, he developed severe drug addiction, grew withdrawn, and developed paranoia, keeping an eye on his family and wanted the blinds closed. He had another episode of paranoia about an entity in the garage. His father was unaware that anything could be found in the garage. When the cops arrived, they observed the same thing. Due to his adoptive father's drug addiction, he was subject to the Baker's Act at the age of 13. The following day, he was let free. He excelled in sports and earned good to okay grades, as B's and C's, throughout his academic career. He had several sports-related head injuries as a youngster or adolescent, some of which led to concussions. He sold drugs, which resulted in a school suspension. He suffered brain injuries in auto accidents when his vehicle crashed into a tree when he was 18 and again when he was 20. One of these resulted in a concussion. Due to several sporting injuries and auto accidents, he underwent CT scans on several occasions. No fractures or bleeding were detected in any of the CT scans. No MRIs were done. MRIs provide more specific information on the brain. As a young adult, he spent time in and out of jail. He was accused of 20 distinct offenses, including fraud and assault, beginning in 2010. He got 2 swastika tattoos on his face and head while he was incarcerated awaiting trial for the killings. In the phone interview from the prison, he dodged questions about this. According to Wade's biological father, around the age of 18, Wade reached out to him in an attempt to connect. They primarily chatted over the phone, and Wade would consistently call out to him when he needed something, namely money. Numerous diagnoses, including depression, anxiety, schizoaffective disorder, a mix of bipolar and schizophrenia, defiant behavior disorder, and antisocial personality disorder, were recorded in the prison system's mental health records. In prison, Wade admitted to having manic episodes and sadness. He told Dr. Mills that he had previously received an ADD diagnosis, and he told the police that he was bipolar. Wade suffered another head injury in another jail incident when he was jumped by 3 other prisoners. 2 expert witnesses, Drs. Mark Mills, a forensic psychiatrist, and Hyman Eisenstein, a neuropsychologist, were called by the defense throughout the trial. Wade was tested, and they also talked to his adoptive family, reviewed his school records, jail mental health records, and CT scans. Wade most likely has severe frontal lobe impairment, which affects executive functioning. The frontal lobe is in charge of impulse control, organization, problem-solving, emotional regulation, and motor skills. Dr. Eisenstein also came to the conclusion that there was impairment to the right side of the brain. Wade was unable to cooperate during the interview. Therefore, Dr. Mills came to the conclusion that Wade had a psychotic condition, but was unable to provide a more detailed diagnosis. The prosecution refuted, claiming that there was no fracture or other damage visible on the CT images. Again, an MRI would have shown additional information about the brain. They argued that he was not being treated with antipsychotic drugs. According to their perspective, neither a mental illness, psychosis, nor a brain injury can be used as a mitigant, and it is impossible to rule out the possibility that his heavy and protracted drug usage was the cause of the behaviors or symptoms he displayed. Wade and his cellmate are charged with trying to get out of jail following an alleged 2020 incident. Wade was connected to the prison-based white supremacist group Unforgiven based on these court documents. Wade is charged with participating in an effort to smuggle drugs into the jail as a result of an alleged 2023 incident. Methamphetamine tests on the 2 Ziploc bags linked to the case and found outside the prison turned up positive. He regularly corresponded with NBC2 for an interview while he was incarcerated. He said in the video interview that the organized crime group he was a part of was framing him for the killings. He said that both narcotics and people trafficking were carried out by this group. According to county authorities, there is no proof of the existence of any such organized crime ring. Wade was approached by another prisoner who wanted to employ him to plan a hit and kill on the other inmate's ex. He reported this to the authorities. Kelly Matthews, a former girlfriend, has addressed the media. She also discussed specifics of her abuse in a TikTok video. She says that from 2018 to 2019, she dated Wade. In the first half of the year, he was not abusive. Then, in 2019, something changed. He abused her sexually, drove her to the Florida Keys for hours, and tied her up. She drove back and informed the police right away, but they did not pursue the matter. She claims that when they first spoke, he gave her the name Steven. It wasn't until she got a letter in the mail addressed to Wade and talking about his kid that she realized his true name was Wade. She mentioned that his ex-girlfriend also reported he sexually assaulted her, but as far as we can tell, the charges were either abandoned or never pursued. She claims that following their breakup, he stabbed the man he was dating. She said he wasn't doing drugs at first, but as their relationship was coming to an end, he was. She once discovered a crack pipe at her house. He claimed to have children in the prison phone conversation, and judging by the video that his ex-girlfriend shared, he at least has 1 child. However, other people on the internet have claimed that he has 2. He later changed his story from what he had initially told the police, his biological father, and his former girlfriend Mila about the deaths. When Wade told him about the killings, his biological father mentioned in his testimony against him in court that he was excited. He would have done it again if he had wanted me to feel the same way he did. Let's get into the details of what happened. The day began like any other for Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz, but for Wade Wilson, it was a day that would end in infamy. Early that morning, Wade Wilson, a 25-year-old man with a history of criminal behavior, woke up under the influence of drugs. His mental state was already unstable, and as the day progressed, his actions would escalate from erratic to deadly. That evening, Wade Wilson and his girlfriend of 6 months made their way to the Buddha Bar in Cape Coral for a night of fun, according to a police report. They drove there in Melissa's gray 2015 Dodge Hellcat. However, sometime during the evening, the pair started to argue. Wade wanted to leave and go to a friend's house. However, Melissa wanted to stay at the bar. Wade said he was going outside to get something from the car. Melissa followed only to see her car leaving the car park. Melissa realized she had been abandoned, and with no ride, she reached out to her friend Amy, not wanting to go home. Melissa went back to Amy's, and, exhausted, soon fell asleep. She awoke around 8 a.m. and realized Wade had been trying to contact her from a number she did not recognize. When she finally picked up, she heard Wade's voice very loud and furious, demanding he see her immediately. Uneasy due to his history of violence and drug use, Melissa agreed to meet him in public at her workplace. She asked Amy to go with her for support and safety. Here is the account of what happened in Melissa's own words as she gives testimony at Wade Wilson's trial.
So where did you agree to meet him?
Mila's Spa.
Now, when you arrived at Mila's Spa, did you see your Hellcat?
No.
Did you see a different car?
Yes.
And was it a car that you recognized?
No.
I'm showing you State's Exhibit 5. Does this look like the car that he was driving?
Yes.
And again, was that a car you had ever seen before?
No.
Now, when you got there, did you get out and try to talk to him?
Yes.
And again, what were you trying to talk to him about?
I went to the driver's side window. He wrote it down. I said, where are my keys? Where's my car? He was calm and just saying, get in the car, and it escalated quickly.
Did you agree to get in the car?
No.
And when you would not agree to get in the car, how did he act?
Violent, aggressive, tried to pull me in the car physically, and I resisted, got plank style so that he could not grab me into the vehicle.
When you say you got plank style, could you just show the jurors what you mean by that?
And I was being pulled into the car by my dress.
Okay, so for the record, you just stood up and put your hands straight above your head.
Yes, so that I was not being able to be budged into the vehicle.
And you said he's pulling at your dress.
Yes.
Can you describe in more detail how he's pulling at your dress?
He's pulling dress, probably a little hair, everything, and then the dress starts to rip off of my body.
And what happens after that?
Once he realizes that the threads were becoming, I was getting away from him and he was still holding onto the dress, he opens the car door, obviously forgets to put it in park. The car starts to roll forward. He tackles to me to the ground. The car grazes both of our legs and I'm pummeled to the ground.
How hard did he push you to the ground?
I'm sorry, I don't recall. This is also fast and he's very heavy and I'm 5'2", he's 6'6", so.
Now, what happens after you are pushed to the ground?
I start to get beat.
Okay. Describe what you mean when you say he was beating you.
It all went so fast and so slow, whether it be punches, slapping, choking, that kind of nature. Yes.
Now, you mentioned that the fight is happening around the car. Does
Yeah.
the fight move at some point?
Yes, so I either get dragged, pulled, can't remember by my hair, or arm, or dress, I'm trying to reason with him, trying to talk to him, but there's nobody behind those eyes anymore. So there was no reasoning with him. I got to the front of the staircase, and I'm holding on to that, and a crowd begins to develop. I'm expecting people to help, call 911, so I'm just trying to bide my time at that point as quickly as help can get there, and that's not working either. I'm starting to get punched and grabbed and choked and all kinds of things again. Somehow we move up to the upper level. I'm trying to convince him, let's just go in Mila Spa, we'll talk about it there, we're safe there.
Melissa was able to break free and ran to a local business seeking safety. At approximately 8:48, the local police arrived on the scene, having received multiple 911 calls stating a man was assaulting a woman. Officer Tim McCormick met Melissa at the Mila Spa where she identified Wade Wilson as her assailant. She recounted the assault and mentioned that Wade was driving a black Nissan Versa, which he had moments before the police arrived left in. The police put out an alert for his arrest. Melissa went to the station with the police and in a statement explained that she and Wade had been in a relationship for approximately 6 months after being introduced by a mutual friend. She went on to say that they had lived together for the first 2 months until he was arrested and spent approximately 3.5 months in prison. Melissa remained in contact with him and decided to give him a second chance when he was released. Wade's criminal records revealed him as a habitual offender with over 20 arrests since 2010. In court testimony, Wade's father added further insight into his son's upbringing.
Good morning. Please state your name for the record.
Stephen Testaseca.
Mr. Testaseca, where are you employed?
I'm self-employed.
What type of work do you do?
Window and door replacement.
Are you married?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your wife's name? How old are you, sir?
46.
You know someone by the name of Wade Wilson.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know Wade Wilson?
He's my son.
How old were you when you found out you were going to be his father?
14 or 15.
How old was his mother at the time?
A year younger than me.
Now, were either of you in a position at that age to be able to raise him?
No, ma'am.
Was he placed up for adoption?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was he adopted by?
Candy and Steve Wilson.
And did they have any connection to you or Wade Wilson's mother?
They went to church with Wade's mother's parents.
So that was how they connected and ended up raising Wade Wilson?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do they have any other children?
Yes, ma'am. 2 daughters.
Now, at some point, did you and Wade Wilson connect?
Yes, ma'am.
How old was Wade Wilson when he connected with you?
18.
And was he wanting to connect with you because you were his biological father?
Yes.
And up until that point, had you ever met him?
No, ma'am.
Did you end up attempting to have a relationship with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he seem to want to have a relationship?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did you have phone calls often?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have occasions where you would see each other?
No. I went up and visited him one time in Tallahassee.
Okay. Now, did he often ask you for money?
Yes, ma'am.
Did your relationship turn into a situation where he was just asking for your help?
Yes, ma'am.
As Melissa's interview continued, she stated that if Wade had successfully got her in the car, she was sure she would not be alive today. She was terrified of him, going on to say he had been calling her relentlessly in the early hours of that morning from numbers she did not recognize, including one with a 603 area code, which the detectives ran through their database. The name came back to a Christine Ann Melton from Cape Coral, whom Melissa's had never heard of. Officers were dispatched to the address, only to find officers from a neighboring jurisdiction were already on the scene.
At 10, we have an update on a story that we've been following all day. Cape Coral police confirmed that they are investigating the death of a woman who lived on Tudor Drive. That woman has been identified as 35-year-old Christine Melton. Viewers tell us she is a waitress, and those we spoke to said they didn't see Melton very often and were wondering what happened.
Well, you think something bad has happened because you don't get yellow crime scene tape put up for no reason.
35-year-old Christine Ann Melton was described by those who knew her as a protector who loved fiercely, a precious soul, and an irreplaceable force, a once-in-a-lifetime person. Cape Coral police officers classified her death as suspicious and launched a homicide investigation. They noticed her vehicle was missing from the driveway, which was a black Nissan Versa. This now intensified the search for both Wade and Christine's vehicle. Soon after, about 5 miles away, Fort Myers police officer Tim McCormick spotted a vehicle and driver matching Wade's description in the car park of a Joe's Crab Shack restaurant. Officer McCormick called for backup.
How you doing? What's going on, man? You're waiting on your girlfriend? Oh, okay. That's no problem. No, I got a call. Somebody was sitting in their car and everything like that. So. Oh, okay. She's on her way down. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Now 4-1-5. ETA? Copy out 10-12. I'll explain it to you when my partner gets here, okay? Yeah. How about this morning? Say again? Yeah, I can do that. But I'm just waiting for my partner to get here. Yeah, absolutely. And here's what's going to happen. Is the car running? Shut the car off for me. It's off. I'm going to detain you until I figure out exactly is going on? Wait, you don't want any trouble for me, okay? Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm going to have you step out of the car, and I'm going to detain you. Not arrest. Detain you right now, okay? And I can't have any problems. You understand me? All right. What's that? Like, I'm at Joe's Crab Shack in the parking lot. I will. I give you my word. No. I have to detain you. By our procedures, I have to detain you. Because of the battery this morning. There wasn't any battery? I will. No. Just relax. Let me see the keys to the car. Let me see the keys to the car. Keys. Wait, we're not going to have any problems. Just give me the keys to the car. Wait. Just wait till my partner gets here. No, 4-1. Gonna need a couple more minutes. Don't go anywhere. Hey. Oh, an hour over there. Don't do it. He's in his car, attempting to take off. Back out. Yes, please. He's taking off, Fort Myers. Just ran a stop sign going up towards McGregor.
Wade managed to escape and drive over 6 miles to a business on Hancock Bridge Parkway in Cape Coral. Desperate for help, Wade approached a businessman he knew through a previous employer named Josh. He pleaded for money so that he could buy a bus ticket out of town. But when Josh declined, Wade, in a state of agitation, claimed, "No, you don't understand. I killed people last night." Alarmed, Josh stepped outside and called 911.
911, what is the emergency?
I have a stable man that I just wanted at my office. Hancock Bridge Parkway. He's tattoos, he's shirtless, he's killed some people, and he just hurt a girl in Hancock Bridge Parkway.
Okay. What is the phone number you're calling from?
239.
Okay, how many guys are in office?
The gentleman's name is Wade something. I have no idea. I went back to my office, my business there, and he was there. He was a cordial friend of a friend associate. Just did something bad, I guess. We're running from somebody that I need to get him out of my place. And he's saying he's done all these crazy things just to somebody and had a stolen car there. So,
The Cape Coral police were quickly on the scene, but were not immediately able to locate Wade. Whilst on the scene, they learned that Fort Myers Police Department was also looking for Wade in connection with the battery against Melissa. As Cape Coral police were searching for the elusive Wade, they were alerted to another emergency nearby. Authorities announced they were looking into the disappearance of a 43-year-old mother of 2, Diane Ruiz, loved by the community. Diane was reported missing at around 4 p.m. After failing to show up for her morning shift at the local Moose Lodge. Her purse was later found abandoned along a road. Diane's disappearance suggested a possibility of foul play, so her disappearance was classified as missing and endangered. A black 2019 Nissan Versa was seen between the times of 10:15 a.m. and 11:15 a.m. Traveling eastbound around the area, Diane was last seen. The police received a break later that day when a police officer who had previously contacted Wade's father and asked him to contact them if he heard from Wade. Here he retells what happened when he was giving testimony on the stand at Wade's trial.
Now, did he end up calling you later that evening?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did he tell you in that call that evening?
The final call?
Nope, the call before the final call.
He just told me, he did something. There was 2 people gone that would not be back. He said, I'm a killer. I just told him to call me back. I just thought it was another story,
So at this point, when he says that there were 2 people that wouldn't be with us and that he was a killer, did you put a lot of weight into that?
No, ma'am.
Did you think he was just telling you a story?
He's a good storyteller.
So did he then call you back a 3rd time?
Yes, ma'am.
What time did he call you back?
It was around 10 o'clock.
I want to go back to that dinner time call. When he talked about these 2 people who were no longer with us and that he was a killer, did he show any type of remorse?
No, ma'am.
So let's go now to the 10 o'clock call. Again, your wife knew about kind of what was going on during that day.
Yes, ma'am.
And when he called back at 10, did he go into more details about what he had told you earlier?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's start with the first girl. If you could tell the jurors, what did he tell you?
He just said he met a girl at a bar. They went back to her house, hung out for a little bit, and then she fell asleep.
What did he say happened after she fell asleep?
He said he got on top of her and choked her.
What name did he call her? Did he refer to her in a derogatory term?
He said, I choked that bitch.
Okay. And what did he say he did after he choked her?
He said he stayed in the house for a little while, and then he rolled her up and was going to try to put her in her trunk, but he couldn't lift her.
Did he say why he was unable to put her in her trunk?
He said that he felt like rigor mortis had started to set in.
And does rigor mortis make your body stiff? You didn't know?
I think so. Yeah.
So he just told you that that was the reason that he couldn't lift her and get her into her trunk?
Yes, ma'am.
And when he said her trunk, it was the trunk of her car he was going to put her in?
Yes, ma'am.
So what did he tell you he did when he couldn't get her body into her own trunk?
He left her there and took her car.
What did he say about the second girl?
He said he saw her walking down the street and stopped and asked her for directions. And she got in the car with him.
What did he say happened once she got in the car with him?
He said he reached over and choked her.
And did he tell you that he choked her while he was driving?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what did he say happened after he choked her?
He said he was looking for a place to put her body.
Did he find a place where he eventually dumped her body?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he tell you about the situation when he got to the place where he was going to dump her body?
He said that he pulled her out of the car and realized that she was still breathing.
So what did he tell you he did when he realized she's still breathing?
He said he got back in the car and ran her over until she looked like spaghetti.
Now, the whole time that he's telling you these details, is your wife hearing any of these details?
I had the phone on speakerphone.
Now, prior to him telling you these details, how did you feel about turning him in to law enforcement?
I initially wanted to help him.
Okay. Did you feel conflicted about giving him over to law enforcement
Yes,
initially?
ma'am.
At some point when you're talking with him, did that feeling change?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
I just thought, what if that was my mom or my daughter or sister or wife? I would want somebody to do that.
And did you have additional concerns of what might happen if you didn't turn him into law enforcement?
Yes, ma'am.
What was that, sir?
He would have done it again.
Now, after he's telling you all these details, do you know where he's at when he's telling you these things?
I just knew he was in a house that he broke into when he was running from the police.
Did you know the actual address of this house he broke into?
No, ma'am.
Now, when you were talking to him and you decided that you needed to give the information to law enforcement about his whereabouts, how did you get that address from him?
I told him I was going to send him an Uber and I needed the address.
The father of Wade then passed the address to a detective who passed it on to the U.S. Marshal Service and the Regional Fugitive Task Force. Wade was hiding out in a home he had broken into that belonged to a couple who had only that morning left for a trip to Ohio. The two agencies met at the property, and after a short time of talking to Wade, he left the property and was taken into custody without incident. He was taken immediately to the Cape Coral Police Department for booking and then later to the Lee County Jail. The state attorney's office organized a press conference to make an important announcement regarding the case against Wade Wilson.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I am State Attorney Amira Fox, and I stand here today with Cape Coral Police Chief Dave Newland and our teams from both our offices to announce the indictment of Wade Stephen Wilson for the murders of Christine Melton, age 35, and Diane Ruiz, 43, both of Cape Coral. The Lee County Grand Jury met today and returned an indictment against Wilson for 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder. He was also indicted for 1 count each of battery, grand theft of a motor vehicle, burglary of a dwelling, and first-degree petty theft. Christine Melton was found dead in her Cape Coral home on October 7th. The body of Diane Ruiz was found on October 12th in a field in Cape Coral, 4 days after she was reported missing. I hope today's indictment brings some small comfort to the families of these victims. These 2 women were preyed upon by the defendant, and their murders impacted their families and shook our community. The Cape Coral Police Department investigated these homicides and the events leading up to them, which led to the arrest of the defendant. And I want to say a huge thank you to Chief Newland, his command staff, and the 2 detectives who worked this case, among others who stand up here with us today, Detective Bell and Detective Jones, and thank them for the absolutely excellent investigative work. They were meticulous, they were patient, and that is why we stand here today with a successful indictment for 2 counts of first-degree murder.
The following day, Wade made his official court appearance on the charges by remote video link.
Wilson, 19 CF 568. Mr. Wilson, you're charged with first-degree murder, grand theft auto, battery, a second first-degree murder, burglary of a dwelling, occupied, and petty theft. State want to be heard?
Briefly, Judge, Andreas Gardner on behalf of the state. The state respectfully requesting Mr. Wilson be held no bond.
Defense?
Your Honor, charge on public management. I believe Judge Manning took testimony and signed the habeas no bond. Any other bond motions will be conducted with the trial judge.
Very good. Mr. Wilson will be held without bond. Your court date is November 25th, 2019 at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 4A. If somehow you get out of jail, you will have no contact directly. Is that someone? All right. You will have no contact directly or indirectly with Melissa Lynn Montez. Is away from 20 9 Street in Fort Myers, Florida. You understand that, sir?
Sure.
That's all for today.
Wade's trial has been repeatedly postponed since his arrest in the early hours of October 8, 2019, as a result of numerous continuances and pretrial motions. During this time, Wade underwent a personal transformation, getting numerous tattoos, some of which included Nazi symbols. The defense requested in court to use makeup to cover up the tattoos, claiming that not doing so could prejudice the jury. Although the court granted the request, the makeup was not applied in the end. On June 10, 2024, the trial formally began with the seating of the jury and the hearing of opening arguments. This was the capital case of Florida v. Wade Wilson. Many witnesses testified during the trial that Wade had admitted to killing both Diane Ruiz and Christine Milton. The defense did not argue with much of the evidence. Instead, they argued diminished responsibility, and at one point even said the defendant was just whacked out of his mind. The jury deliberated for 2 hours following the conclusion of the trial before returning a verdict.
All right, do you have the verdict form? All right, we pass that to the bailiff. Verdict form appears to be in order. I'll have the clerk publish the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the 20th Judicial Circuit in Fort Lee County, Florida, criminal action, State of Florida versus Wade Wilson, case number 19 CF 0568. Verdict. We, the jury, finds as follow as to the defendant in this case. Count 1, first-degree murder, Christine Milton. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Count 2, grand theft motor vehicle. The defendant is guilty of grand theft motor vehicle. Count 3, battery. The defendant is guilty of battery. Count 4, first-degree murder, Diane Ruiz. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder.
Wade Wilson was found guilty on all counts, as this is a death penalty case. The penalty phase started on June 20th. The following is the verdict of the penalty phase.
The record reflects the state's president, defense counsel, and the defendant are present. My understanding is that the jury has reached a verdict. Are we ready to proceed?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. A couple of things just for folks in the audience. I know there's people here, presumably on the sides. This is an emotional time for everybody. If you feel like you cannot contain your emotions within the courtroom, I'd ask you please wait in the hallway till after the jury has completed their work and they're discharged, and then you can express whatever emotions you need outside the courtroom. I just don't want there to be any outburst or anything that would impact the jurors in any way, whether it's satisfaction or dissatisfaction with their decision. So you're ordered not to remain in the courtroom if you don't think you can contain your emotions. With that, we're ready to bring in the jury. while we're waiting, and again, the state defense defendant are present, is either side going to want the jury polled?
I think that's reflected in
If it is, I have the polling question. That's the standard question as part of death penalty cases promulgated by the Supreme Court. So I can use that.
Yes.
Okay.
Entry.
All right, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I've been informed that you have reached a verdict or a decision in this matter. Is that correct? Who has the verdict? All right. You'll pass that to the bailiff. All right, verdict form appears to be in order. We'll let the clerk publish the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the 20th Judicial Circuit in Lee County, Florida, criminal action. State of Florida versus Wade Wilson, case number 19 CF 568. Jury verdict form, penalty phase. We, the jury, finds as follows as to the defendant, Wade Wilson, in this case. As to count 1, first-degree murder, Christine Milton. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that Wade Wilson was previously convicted of a felony and under sentence of imprisonment or placed on community control or on felony probation. Yes. We, the jury, find unanimously that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that Wade Wilson was previously convicted of another capital felony or of a felony involving the use of threat of violence to the person. Yes. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that the first-degree murder was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel. Yes. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that the first-degree murder was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner without any pretense of moral or legal justification. No. If you, the jury, answered no to every aggravating factor listed, you have completed your deliberations. If you, the jury, answered yes to any aggravating factor listed, proceed to Section B. If fewer than 8 jurors vote for the death penalty, your recommendation must be for a penalty of life in prison without the possibility of parole. If 8 or more jurors vote for the death penalty, your recommendation must be for the death penalty. We, the jury, unanimously found the state proved one or more aggravating factors. Each of us has considered whether one or more mitigating circumstances exist. Each of us has weighed whether the proven aggravating factors are sufficient and whether the proven aggravating factors outweigh any proven mitigating circumstances. We have further considered whether Wade Wilson should be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole or death. We, the jury, find by a vote of 9-3 that Wade Wilson should be sentenced to death. As to count 4, first-degree murder, Diane Ruiz. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of aggravating factors. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that Wade Wilson was previously convicted of a felony and under sentence of imprisonment or placed on community control or on felony probation. Yes. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that Wade Wilson was previously convicted of another capital felony or of a felony involving the use of threat of violence to the person. Yes. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that the first-degree murder was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel. Yes. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that the first-degree murder was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner without any pretense of moral or legal justification. Yes. If fewer than 8 jurors vote for the death penalty, your recommendation must be for a penalty of life in prison without the possibility of parole. If 8 or more jurors vote for the death penalty, your recommendation must be for the death penalty. We, the jury, unanimously found the state proved one or more aggravating factors. Each of us has considered whether one or more mitigating circumstances exist. Each of us has weighed whether the proven aggravating factors are sufficient and whether the proven aggravating factors outweigh any proven mitigating circumstances. We have further considered whether Wade Wilson should be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole or death. We, the jury, find by a vote of 10-2 that Wade Wilson should be sentenced to death. Dated this 25th day of June, 2024, in Lee County, Florida, 4-person, 234.
Does anybody want the jurors to be polled?
Yes.
Okay. Members of the jury, we're going to ask each of you about the jury's decisions that you have just heard. And I'm going to go juror by number. So juror, do you, juror 97, agree that the decisions as read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Juror 97. Okay. Do you agree that the decisions read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Juror 234. Do you agree that decisions as read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Juror number 3. Do you agree that the decisions as read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Juror 205. Do you agree that the decisions as read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Juror 101. do you agree that the decisions as read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Yes. Juror 215, do you agree that the decisions as read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Juror 87, do you agree that the decisions as read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Juror 362, do you agree that the decisions as read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Juror 136, do you agree that the decisions as read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Juror 193, do you agree that the decisions as read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Juror 315, do you agree that the decisions as read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Juror 309, do you agree that the decisions as read by the clerk accurately reflect what the jury decided? Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We've recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affairs as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. Although you are at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you are also at liberty to refuse to speak to anyone. A request to discuss either your verdict or your deliberations may come from those who are simply curious, from those who might seek to find fault with you, from the media, from the attorneys, or elsewhere. It will be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. With that, we thank you again for your service. Gather your belongings, make sure you don't leave anything in the jury room, and the bailiff will escort you out. You are discharged.
All right.
All right. Please be seated. All right. What says the state in regards to sentencing? I know we have to have a Spencer hearing.
Yes,
And
you need to go ahead and set it up for a Spencer hearing. We also need to have a pre-sentence investigation.
Okay.
On the,
all right.
so we're thinking 45 days out.
Are the parties available on July 22nd?
July 22nd?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Okay.
I'll be flying back from Wisconsin.
Okay. How about July 29th?
I'm supposed to start a second-degree murder trial in Arcadia on the 29th. Can't be ready that fast.
How about on July 23rd?
No work.
9 a.m. So I will order a pre-sentence investigation report and have the Department of Corrections prepare that. And then we'll set sentencing and Spencer hearing.
Want the Spencer hearing at 9 and the sentencing at 1?
That's fine. We can do that. Start in the morning and then recess until the afternoon. So I'll give you all day on Tuesday, July 23rd, beginning at 9 a.m. Mr. Wilson, I believe he's already been fingerprinted, but it may need to get fingerprinted again and remanded, or does he need to get fingerprinted? Yeah. Then he'll just be remanded. He'll be held without bond until July 23rd, until sentencing, and Spencer hearing on July 23rd, beginning at 9 a.m. Any other issues that the court needs to address?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Then we'll be adjourned.
If you noticed Wade did a little hand gesture at the end of the penalty phase, if you know what this meant, drop a line in the comments. Or if you have any other thoughts on the case, feel free to leave a comment. But finally, his sentencing will commence on the 23rd of July. As always, please subscribe, share, and like, and we will see you on the next one.